That's right. So, with mortgage rates on the rise this fall, the housing market is feeling the squeeze. From rising costs to shifting buyer demand, here to break it all down and what it all means for consumers is Michael Guckes. He is the chief economist at ConstructConnect. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Trinity. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning. Let's just start talking about how rising mortgage rates have impacted home buying activity this year. And are there any specific regions or demographics that are feeling this impact more than others?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And what we're looking at is really single family versus multifamily. These markets really do seem to be trending in their own sort of unique directions. Single family was a lot more sensitive to interest rates, and that was when they were increasing 2 years ago. With this, falling of rates now, I suspect, and we suspect, that single family is going to outperform in the near term, and that's part of what our near term 2025 forecast is for around 13% growth on the single family side. Multifamily will improve in 25, but not at that same kind of encouraging rate.
What's the indicator that why is single family going to improve over others? What do you think is driving that demand?
It really, I think, comes down to rate sensitivity, right? We've seen high home prices relative to incomes and disposable income for several years now. And so even small changes in those interest rates are really affecting those monthly mortgage costs. And that's why I think the single family market has been so much more sensitive to rate changes. So it was difficult for us when rates were increasing. Hopefully, we'll see a turn of events here coming into 2025 that's really encouraging.
Michael, speaking of additional costs, I do want to talk about materials and labor that are currently affecting home construction, and how do these costs play a role into affordability challenges for both builders and buyers?
Absolutely. Great question. So, we look at it in terms of really two major components, the materials part and the labor part. And if you look at our data for the last year, we've had roughly negative 1 to 2% contraction, right? So we've had modest contraction on the material side for almost the length of all of 2024. But when you look at the labor part, we still have somewhere around 4.5% labor cost increases, again, annualized. And the challenge there is that we simply don't have enough qualified labor in the workforce. And so this is a long-term challenge. When we talk to our clients, we keep telling general contractors and trade contractors, your human resources strategy in the years to come is going to be one of the greatest determinants of your company's long-run success.
And with mortgage rates at some of their highest levels in years, what are we seeing when it comes to shifts specifically in buyer behavior, such as increased preference for renting or downsizing?
Great question. I think that really goes back to the vacancy rates, right? We can look at those. Those certainly fell for a very long time. That created a surge in multifamily construction. Those vacancy rates have now started to tick up a little bit, right? But long run, right, as you pointed out, those higher interest rates continue to I think bring people into the multifamily market because they simply can't afford those single family homes. Again, this is why all of our viewers need to be very careful about single family versus multifamily trends and data, because they are no longer simply mirroring one another.
Can you talk to me more about some factors that could impact the overall housing sector, or policy changes for that matter, that could potentially shift the trajectory of the housing industry in the coming year? And what should industry stakeholders keep an eye on?
Great question. So, one of the things that is encouraging is, I think, a relaxation of regulations, right? Getting more available land out there into these single family, multifamily residential spaces so that we can create the supply that will support all of the household formations that we're seeing, right? On the other hand, though, any increases in costs, whether that's because of tariffs and the consequences of those, maybe some unintended consequences of tariffs, we could see rising material prices. And then secondly, the other thing would be how labor policy works, especially when we think about the diversity of the people in the construction field. We have people from all walks of life who are in the construction trades. And if for any reason that is impacted because of forthcoming policies, right, and we have a tightness in labor market supply, that's only going to keep that year-over-year labor costs I was talking about previously elevated. And so that becomes another real problem.
Michael, is there anything specific that you're focusing on going into the new year 2025? You are the chief economist at ConstructConnect, so is there anything that you're specifically following?
Well, we continue to just look at the macroeconomic environment. I think that's very important. The other thing is just to look at where credit markets are moving, right? Credit markets are so important to those interest rates that decide, whether a family can make a 6% monthly mortgage work or not. And so we continue to really carefully follow those financial indicators of where rates are headed.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael. It's always a pleasure having you on the show, and have a good day.
Thank you.